Bob Halliday is Vice President of Saskatchewan's Environmental Society, which is also an applicant. And Bob joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Adam?
I'm doing well, Bob. Thanks for being with us. How are you feeling about the judge's decision, Bob?
Well, I feel a little bit gypped on the whole thing. This decision, as you explained, was on a motion to strike. It wasn't on the details of our case. And what the judge decided was that this was not a so-called judiciable decision, and so the case was not heard and it was dismissed. I do note that the judge did not deny climate change, and said, in effect, that things need to be done, but he didn't feel it was a judicial role to lead the charge on climate change action.
Bob, can you remind our listeners what you were asking of the court?
What we were asking for was a judicial review of the decision. As I think all your listeners are aware, there's no foundation for this decision. It came out as a provincial letter to Sask Power employees back in June. And prior to that time, Sask Power had spent a few years consulting with the public on the way forward on their power transitions. And at no time in that period was the idea of keeping coal-fired power plants operating ever mentioned. There were things like interconnections with other jurisdictions, renewable power, the role of gas-fired power stations, all of those kinds of things came up. And I should say small nuclear reactions. All of those things came up in the Sask Power review over the last several years, but that was all thrown in the dumpster with this provincial decision to keep the coal-fired power plants working. And we have no basis from the province for what this decision, how it came about, and why. It was basically just a letter to employees saying, here we go, we're going to do coal-fired power plants until 2050, maybe.
What did you, Bob? What did you think of the messaging between the power corporation and the government? And you mentioned there some of the background between what Sask Power was looking at as far as powering our grid into the future.
It seemed to me, and this is only my speculation, I don't know, but it seemed to me that for the last several years, the power corporation was on one track, and all of a sudden they were diverted to another track by a provincial government decision. I don't believe this decision was a Sask Power decision. I believe it lies at the heart of the government itself.
Bob, what are you hoping to do now?
Well, the first step up is that the problem is not going to go away. We face a major crisis in climate change, and we need action early on to get electricity generation out of the hydrocarbon era. And we need the whole world to be carbon free by 2050, not just Sask Power. So what we're looking at now are the judge's decision, and whether in fact there are grounds for a challenge of that decision. We can take it to a higher court, and that seems like a real possibility. A decision is yet to be made on that, but over the next few days and maybe week, I'm sure there will be a decision made, and we'll have to move forward on that basis. There's one other thing I'd like to emphasize, though, too, and that is that in making this decision, the province has not laid out any real track as to how they get to carbon-free power by 2050. There's a pious hope that they can refurbish the coal-fired power plants and build a couple of nuclear plants in the 2030s. But keep in mind, this is an enormous transition. And even if they build two nuclear plants in the 2030s, in the 2040s, they're probably going to have to build one nuclear plant a day, a week, sorry, a year. My excuse. One nuclear plant a year to get to 2050 carbon-free power. This is an enormous cost, and there are much cheaper alternatives. And we've yet to hear from the provinces exactly how they hope to get to carbon-free power by 2050.
Bob, we appreciate your time and letting us know about the latest in this case. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. You're welcome.